Ujasenem, 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 Ujasenem,
Ankh Ujasaneb, everybody. Anke Ma'at, Anke Ma'at. See Melanation app in the building, as you all can see. Anke Ma'at to you. That's our Jati and the Benu, Tahuti forever. Ooh, and one of my first jegnas here, Shriner Sekmet, a boot shot. Anke Ma'at to you. Hatep Sin James, I see you there. And those on Facebook, I will navigate looking at those comments in just a little while. We will have one of our beloved sins coming on to do the opening of the way and getting into today's topic for adoration. So before then, I want to say dua to the Netaru and all of you who have come today to gather in this sacred space. And here he is. I'm going to bring him on. Our sin, Dehuti Mus Ma'at Ra. Uncle Ma'at Sin, how are you this morning?
Ma'at. I think you can see me in the back, but can they see me on the screen?
Oh yeah, you're on the screen.
Okay, cool.
We haven't
All
gotten into anything yet. We had just had our opening adoration music. In the beginning, of course, I say dua to the Netaru and dua to all who've gathered in the sacred circle. So today's topic, as you can see, we turn our attention to a gift that we often overlook. I know myself definitely are one of those. So the brother that I have, the sin that I have here, is going to be very, very influential on this topic. So again, to a gift that we often overlook, our physical bodies. As Kemetic practitioners, we devote ourselves to prayer, to ritual, to study, and the cultivation of Ma'at. We seek spiritual elevation and strive to purify our hearts. Yet the very vessel which we live through, which we serve through, which we worship through, is our bodies. See, the ancients understood that the human being is not spirit alone. We are mind, body, and spirit, or heart, life force, and spirit, each working in harmony. To neglect one diminishes the whole. So we all know that. We know the concept of holistic living, mind, body, and spirit. So to neglect one, that means one or the other is going to be out of balance. So our bodies allows us to embrace our loved ones when we give hugs, when we cry, when we have our feelings, make offerings, perform our rituals, serve our communities, work with our hands, and walk the path of Ma'at. So without our bodies, which is our ket or katu, I should say, without giving reverence and care to that, everything else falls by the wayside. So caring for our body is not vanity. It's gratitude. It's an act of reverence for the life the Netaru has gifted us and entrusted us with. So today, before we get into the opening of the way, I just want to say that we honor the sacred temple, which we experience this life through. May we remember that nourishing our bodies, resting when needed, moving with purpose, seeking healing, and also sacred acts. May we have this gathering committed to caring for ourselves so that we may better serve our families, our communities, and the Netaru. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started as we always do with the opening of the way. Sin, if you like, I can do the feminine if you'd like to do so.
That sounds great. That sounds great.
Now, before we do that, do you want to, I know we usually talk a little bit about the opening of the way. Do you want to just kind of give an explanation as to what we're doing here?
I'd be happy to. If everyone can still see me, just gonna open my curtains a little bit more. Better. Yeah. The opening of the way ceremony was put into its current configuration by our shrine elder, now shrine ancestor, Baba Haru Ankara Samaj Pata. It teaches us to remember just how powerful we are, as our Hemnetter and Tepi, our chief priest of our shrine, Jabari Osaze, or Haru Jedin Ma'at Aten Ra, always says. I do the opening of the way every day. I recommend that practitioners do this every day as well, because we're supposed to do the opening of the way ceremony before we do anything of importance. And as we're told, certainly our day is important. So do the opening of the way at least once every day.
Do I?
Um,
Do that.
all right. So, and also as I said, this is not theater. So I know that we're on the screens. You hear us, you see us on the screens. I want you to do this with us if you're able to stand, if you're able. Um, all right. So we're going to start off by putting our left foot forward, our right foot back. So essentially, you take a step with your left foot, your first step. And this is to trample down evil so that your heart can go forward. Okay, and we're going to be talking a little bit about protection of our body in this Haru Dua. We're then going to extend our hands forward, okay, with our left slightly in front of the right. Okay, so the left is slightly forward, right slightly back. We're not going to break our wrists, but we're going to bend them ever so slightly. Okay, the left is going to be giving divine spiritual energy. The right is going to be receiving divine spiritual energy. Okay, this is the position of adoration that you're going to see on the walls and temples all across Kemet and around the world when it comes to our Kemetic culture. Okay, we're going to be taking our divine breath in a moment. And when we exhale, we're going to be chanting the word Ankh, which is divine everlasting life. Okay, all right, take your divine breath. Oh. Anitrak in Bedhit.
Nuke in Bedhet.
Anitrak happy.
Anatrak happy.
Nuke happy.
Nuke happy.
Tuau enter. Quarter turns here, right?
Anatrak circuit.
Anitrak circuit.
Nuke circuit.
Nuke circuit. Anitrak kepsenuf.
Anatrak kepsanuf.
Nuke kepsenuf.
Nuke kepsanuf.
Tuau enter. Quarter turn to the right.
Anatrak ost.
Anitrak ost.
Nuke ost.
Nuke ost. Anitrak amset.
Anatrak umset.
Nuke amset.
Nuke umset.
Tuau enter. Quarter turn to your right.
Anatrak neat.
Anitrak neat.
Nuke neat.
Nuke neat. Anitrak duamutef.
Anatrak duamutef.
Nuke duamutef.
Nuke duamutef.
Tuau enter.
Anatrak newt.
Anitrak newt.
Nuke newt.
Nuke newt. Anitrak geb.
Anatrak geb.
Nuke geb.
Nuke geb.
Tuau enter. Anitrak shu.
Anatrak shoe. Shoe.
Shu. Shu.
Shoe.
Shu. Shu. Nuke shu.
Shoe.
Anitrak
Tef newt.
Anitrak tefnut. Tefnut.
Tef
Tefnut.
newt.
Tefnut.
Newt.
Tefnut.
Newt. Newt. Tef newt.
Nuke tefnut. Tuau enter. Anitrak pautin teru. Nuke pautin teru. Anitrak and buin teru. Nuke and buin teru. Tuau enter. Oh,
Oh, oh.
flow enter.
Slow and turn. Please
Dua,
forgive
dua.
me, you all. My voice is actually still coming back, but at least I have one now.
Yeah.
When I got back from Detroit, I had no voice at all,
Wow.
at all,
Wow.
at all. But it's coming back here, so I cannot complain. All right. So honor to the Netaru, honor to the Aku, honor to those gathered in truth and sincerity. May the way be open before us, and may our hearts be peaceful. May our minds be clear and our bodies be strengthened. May this God gathering today be established in Ma'at, Dua in Neteru, and Dua in Aku. And of course, as he said for Baba Heru, the opener of the way, we want to give honor and always give homage to the legacy for our beloved elder now ancestor. So Baba Heru, Ankra Samaj Sepata, Ma'akeru, opener of the way, bearer of Ma'at, and custodian of the Ankh. We give thanks for his life. We give thanks for his teachings. We give thanks for his unwavering devotion to Ma'at. May we continue the work he begun, and may we honor his memory through righteous living, faithful service, and care for ourselves and one another. Dua and Baba Heru, Ankra Samaj Sepata. All
Dua.
right. As we get into the service and the topics, we go through our normal steps. So, of course, we are given symbolic flowers today. So the flowers today are going to be representations of gratitude for uh, the breath that fills our lungs, the strength of our hands, the beat of our hearts, the gift of movement, for healing where our bodies are weary, for renewed vitality and well being. May these offerings remind us that our body is a sacred gift. So, for that, of course, what I'm just going to do is simply pour water today into my vines and plants are growing all over the place. So, I'm going to pour water into this one. You guys have seen it before, but I will pour libation for this one. Dua, dua to the Neteru, dua for secret service, and dua for the ancestors. All right. All right. And next, we're going to go ahead and set our feather. The feather that we set here just gets us preparation for the discussion and the topics that we come on and give adoration for every day. To Hudi Ma'at, I know that you have been here before. So for the breaths for these breaths here, we do this just to kind of clear our minds, clear the area, clear the space before we get into the organic conversation that we're going to have. So for that, we're going to have 4 breaths today. We're going to take those deep breaths, one in through your nostril, breathe out through your mouth, and on these 4 breaths, we're going to breathe in life, we're going to breathe in health, we're going to breathe in gratitude. And on our 4th one, we're going to breathe in ma'at and exhale neglect. So any neglect that we may feel we have as it applies to our bodies and our own selves that we've been neglecting, we're going to breathe that, exhale that neglect. So here we are. We're going to take our breaths. And that's life. And the next is health. The next is gratitude. And a deep breath to breathe in ma'at and to exhale neglect. All right. Now, as we have breathed together, let us remember that every breath, even breath, is a gift for our physical body. So, what may we learn if we are not already doing so to honor this life by caring for the vessel that carries it? So, today's adoration, as said, we are celebrating the sacred harmony of body and spirit. And again, as we have our beloved sin here, we praise the Neteru. Let us also give thanks for physical lives we have been blessed to live, those we've actually encountered, other people we've encountered, their physical lives. So give thanks for that. May our devotion be reflected in our prayers, but not just in our prayers, how we care for ourselves as well. So giving honor to the Neteru that I've thought of to open this discussion up. I'll say Iau to Ma'at. Hail to Lady Ma'at, Lady of Truth, balance, and right living. Teach us to bring balance, not only to our spirits, but also to our bodies. May we honor ourselves with moderation, discipline, and gratitude. Iau and Ra. Hail to Ra, whose light brings life to all creation. Without Ra, we would not be. So as you rise each morning, renew your strength and awaken. And Ra awakens us to another day of purpose. We always give thanks at rising because we're not promised to do that again. So may we greet each day with thankfulness for the gift of life. Iau and Sekhmet, hail to Sekhmet, great lady of healing and divine power. Bring healing where there's illness, restore strength where there's weakness. Grant courage to those facing physical challenges, I being one of those. May your fierce compassion inspire us to care for our bodies with wisdom. So that's another thing that we're going to talk about with our brother here, talking about the wisdom for caring for our bodies. Iau in Imhotep, hail to Imhotep, wise healer and master of knowledge. Guide those who seek healing. Bless the hands of the caregivers and physicians. Teach us that seeking care and tending to our health is an expression of wisdom, not weakness. That's another point to point out there. Iau and Tahuti. Hail to Tahuti, Lord of wisdom, Neb of wisdom, I want to say, not Lord. Grant us the knowledge to make choices that nourish our bodies and support long life. May wisdom guide our daily habits. And with that, let's go ahead and get into the topics. So let's talk about some things today. Those adorations right there, Sin, kind of open the gate for some of the questions. You know, some of us are in fear of getting the health or seeking the health care that we need. And I know that I won't even put brothers in a box because a lot of, let's just say, Black folks, African descendant people, we're afraid to go to the physicians. That's one point we can talk about. And the other portion was the wisdom to know what we need for our bodies.
That's right. 100%. I would say before I jump into it, I just want you to, if the people who are in the audience, if you guys can just drop a comment to confirm you can see me good. I know I have the window behind me. I'm in a hotel room right now, like a top floor. And I just want to make sure that the light is not uh, washing me out. If you guys can see me, and then if you guys can hear me, I think you guys can hear me. All right,
We
you
can
can just
hear
leave
you
it.
good. Let me take a
Yeah,
look at the comments as far as the visual. I can see you.
yeah,
I do see that it when it was closed, I could see you a little bit better. But
right on.
let's see what they say.
Yeah, let me know because I don't mind closing. I was just trying to give them some more light.
Gotcha.
Um,
Let's see.
and then we jump into it.
Let's see. Maybe. It's not bad actually. I went on Facebook to see you, so I can see you there.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, so dua, 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 and I would even add a dua to the Necher Manchu, who's for us is the Necher or the principle of being warriorship, battle, warfare. And I don't mean that in an aspect way, but I mean that it's an important thing as well to be able to defend yourself. Your immune system is going to warfare. When you're practicing Ma'at, you're going to warfare against Esfet, warfare against things that are against Ma'at, right? But certainly even physical battle. We honored that as Africans, and we should continue to do that in practicing this new uh, wave of Kemetic culture. We need to take that Manchu spirit more regularly because we are often at battle, right? We are often at battle. So the first thing you learn in battle and warfare. I'm ex-military. I did just under 3 years as a second lieutenant or an officer, and now I've served as a police officer. I've done Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, kickboxing, and just that regular boxing. And I'm also now a natural men's physique bodybuilder. My first show is in 3 weeks, and so physicality is very important to me. For that, not for the to harm others actually, but to be able to defend myself, to defend ourselves, and just for overall health. And that's kind of what we're going at here is about physical health, physical strength, even. And so the first thing is having that mindset, I would say, that you are capable of doing many great things. The same spiritually or mental or intellectually, you can be strong and healthy physically, and you should be if we really value, I know there's a lot of discussions about whether or not the Netru are literal and these sorts of things, this kind of dichotomy, literal or not literal. But what no one is debating, what no Kemite is debating, is whether or not the Neter is real, right? We don't, in the Kemetic spiritual community, we're not atheists. We believe that the nature is real. How we interpret that, how we connect with that, developing a relationship with that divine essential force is the work that we're all on, the journeys that we're all on. But if we believe that the nature is real, if we believe that we're all not here by accident, by uh, meteor crash or something like this, a big bang, if we honestly believe that we are here intentionally by the Neter's wish and that we've been given, loaned even this body, these bodies, and a space here on earth to dwell and walk and learn and grow and fall and rise, then we have an obligation to take care of this flesh. We have an obligation to take care of the temple of the Ka, as the title is given. And so there's many things that we can do to take care of our temples, a lot of which we do on the Shrine of Ma'at pages here, like this great one, Dwa R Hrw, right? In terms of taking care of our divine Ka, our divine spirit, right? Playing good music, Hekau, Hesi, talking about important topics, nourishing our souls, even nourishing our minds, our intellect, being recommended many different kinds of books to read. Actually, right now, I'm reading a book. So the last book I read was Akbar Papers in African Psychology. I just finished that one up, but this is the next book I'm reading. I don't know if you guys can see that, and I'll read out the title in a moment. Okay. This book is called Without Sanctuary, Lynching Photography in America. Without Sanctuary, Lynching Photography in America.
Without sanctuary.
And then it's a colon. And
Right. Oh, you told us about that. Yes, sanctuary.
yes. This is what I'm reading now. And it's important to read in general, but in particular, it's important to read African African Black books, African books, okay, especially about things like this because Hesi and saying Hekau and reading is important, but if we don't take care of ourselves physically, then this can happen, right? This can happen. Why we're speaking English, right now I'm speaking to you in English. We use some Meduneteri here and there as well, but why I'm speaking to you in English is because at some point, by and large, African people were conquered by different European nations, including England. So then that becomes our lingua franca, the language of the day, the language of the currency, the economy. And so the physical defense, before you can defend yourself, you have to be physically strong and physically fit, healthy. So that covers nutrition, that covers, stretching your body, that covers exercising, that covers natural supplements. I'm a lifetime natural bodybuilder. I've never used any illegal supplements like steroids and these kinds of things. Okay. And it's not even needed. And in fact, I would argue as a Kemetic spiritual practitioner that it would be SFET to do that. But maybe that's a bit of a push. That may be a bit of a push. Okay, so we're going to talk about some of this today, and then after we'll also open it up and have questions, take questions, and that kind of thing. angle that way. Um, Before we begin, are there any questions or should I jump right in?
Oh, you can let me just take a look,
Okay.
address. And I do see our Senaton there. Come out to you. I don't see any questions at this time, and we
Okay.
can get
Okay.
moving. If you all do have
Okay.
questions as far, please put them in the chat. I'll be taking a look at the chat, periodically as we are going along. But right now, you can proceed. I don't see any questions at this time.
Okay, perfect. All right. So yeah, so Senu, so I think the first thing that's important is going to be your nutrition. I think so. In terms of nutrition, there's different ways to go about it. I know the Shrine of Ma'at has their official position of how we should do nutrition, and I definitely would defer you and yield to that direction if you wish. However, for me, what I do is for as I'm speaking to you, I have a bunch of fruits right here beside me. These are grapes, um, cherries, right? Banana, clementines, they're all just behind my laptop. I keep, I recommend having lots and lots of fruits and vegetables. I know it almost sounds rudimentary, but it is so important to have lots of fruits and vegetables. The largest animals, gorillas and elephants, and most of these things are eating lots and lots of fruits and vegetables, right? So they're super important. They nourish us. They're bathing in raw all the time, right? And they're just filled with divine spiritual energy. Okay, and so definitely get lots of fruits and vegetables in. For me, I also do high protein, so I have a lot of protein. I know there's ways you can get protein in many different sources, so I leave it to you for this audience. But whatever you're doing, you want to. I recommend it being high protein and low carbs. Now there are okay. So there are three macronutrients. Okay, there's fat, protein, and carbohydrates or carbs. Okay. Um, so examples of healthy fats: avocados, nuts like peanuts or almonds, cashew, these kinds of things. These are great examples of healthy fats. Fats are not bad for you. When people hear fat, sometimes they think of someone who is obese or struggling with their weight. But the, I want to distinguish the macronutritional gamut. Okay. So fats are great, and I recommend you eat healthy fats, a moderate amount of healthy fats. Proteins are really great. There's a lot of different ways to get proteins, but I know some of the community is um, vegetarian or vegan, right? Or raw foods only and this sort of thing. And so for those who are doing that, they already know what proteins, where they like to derive their sources of protein. So I'm not going to negate that. For those who eat other kinds of things, like they still have meats and these kinds of things, for those, I would recommend things like beef, chicken, fish, eggs, um, this sort of thing. To add on to if for those, because I know there's a split in the community, not everyone is of the same persuasion. But whatever you're doing, high protein. Okay, for me, high protein, moderate fats. Now carbs. There are many different ways you can get carbs or carbohydrates, including when I'm eating grapes and there's carbs in those, and I'm okay with those. I don't even consider those a problem. I don't consider fruits and vegetables a problem. The four carbs, what I say in my company for my clients, the four devils of your diet. Okay. Maybe the four peps of your diet, if you will, to this community, right? For me, are going to be rice, potatoes, bread, pasta noodles. Rice, potatoes, bread, pasta noodles. You can eat, they're tasty. Everyone loves them. I love potatoes. I love these things. But the less we eat of this, the more the less body fat we're going to have, the more muscle will be revealed, the more definition and detail, the more veins, like these kinds of things um, that will come out, that will be there. So I put that in your hands to choose because you're the captain of your own ship. But I would say high protein, moderate fats, low carbs. That's in terms of the nutrients. Yeah, rice, potatoes, bread, and pasta noodles. Yeah. Yes, that's my proposal. Now I know that's very counterintuitive as well, because those of when they're growing up, you see the food pyramid and they tell you how you're supposed to eat, but these pyramids are largely created by people who don't have our best interest, or who perhaps don't have the wisdom, or they're being lobbied by different industries that are trying to encourage them to get their produce out the door to you on your table. So, but for me, in my opinion, um, yeah. And for those who are, I see a comment, for those who are vegetarian and that is, and you need that, that's how you derive your proteins, continue to do what you're doing. Continue to do what you're doing. For me, I'm just generally at a glance going to say, I do high protein, moderate fats, I do low carbs, but if you need to have those carbs for whatever other reason, do what's, what works for you, because you living is more important than anything. The whole purpose of this chat is to encourage your life, your health, your vitality, your strength.
That's
So
right.
yeah, I just want to give my perspective on that. We'll shift. We'll talk about water for a moment. For me, for my clients, when I'm talking with them, I always recommend that they drink about a gallon of water a day. 1 gallon is 3,750 milliliters or so, to round, okay? Which is works out to be about 7.5 water bottles. If you're using, unless you're using, well, yeah, reusable or not. Water bottles are typically 500 milliliters. Um, some people's bottles, if you're using a reusable cup, is 1 liter. If that's the case, it'd be four of those. So you can round up to 7 or 8 water bottles, if you will. That's a gallon of water. No doctor is gonna say you need to drink, less water. They're gonna say you need more water. Our bodies, our muscles are 70% water. Our bodies are 70% water. Our organs, they sit and live in water. We need water. Especially for those who are looking to get more physically fit and active, you're going to be shedding more water. You're going to be sweating a lot, right? And so the more water you take in to flush that is important. Um, okay, so we got that. We have the nutrition, we got the water for now. In terms of uh, natural supplements that could assist you if when you're getting physically fit. Okay. First thing I'm going to recommend is multivitamins. I know we hear about them when we're young. Maybe we had Flintstones or whatever the multivitamins growing up, but I think they're very important. It's going to give us that baseline of vitamins that we need. Because when I eat grapes, when I eat bananas, when I eat these things, I'm getting a different array of vitamins, which are really healthy for me, and minerals, different nutrients, right? But because I didn't eat kiwi, or I didn't eat, a zucchini, maybe there's different vitamins that I could be getting too. So just to supplement our healthy diet, this is no replacement for eating fruits or vegetables or healthy foods. It's just to supplement or to complement even our diet. So multivitamins will help you with that at a baseline. Make sure that you get the key vitamins that you need. Other vitamins, when you learn, when you're talking to your doctor, or if you get an app, like there's different apps you can track your calories and macronutrients, micronutrients. One example is Under Armour's MyFitnessPal. Okay, it'll tell you based upon what you type in that you ate, lunch, breakfast, dinner, um, what's low and what's high. So you might have high iron, but you might have low potassium, or whatever the case may be. When you're seeing that, you can fix your health before it's a problem. Because doctors in the West over here, at least, some of you might not be in the West on the call, but for those who are in the West, in North America, doctors are typically reactive and not proactive, right? Which, but
Absolutely.
rather than, yeah, but rather than just complaining about what they do, I'm saying to you, you can be proactive by downloading different apps or being able to track your micronutrients, however you do. I use MyFitnessPal. It'll tell me what's high and what's low. And so then if I see from day to day that my potassium is low, I know I need to have more banana in my diet, or I need to have, you know what I mean? You can adjust before it becomes, if it festers into something and manifests into something bad. I see a comment here.
And what's that? H3O.
Okay, H3O. Is
Yeah.
that is if you want to say more about that melanation app, I'm listening.
Um, I don't. I'm not sure if he's asking what it is, but
Did I
he
say?
just.
Oh, I don't know. Did I say H2O? If I said H3O, I apologize. I don't know what you mean.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay.
I don't
Melanation
know.
app. Please let us know what you mean by that question, just in case. Just in case. And I see Senator, he says here that you've added multivitamins since his 45th birthday, and he's definitely felt the difference. Then we have
Yeah.
our son James. He said, "What are the key vitamins that we should be receiving?"
Great question. I think especially for Black African people, vitamin C is going to be very important because it's not our natural habitat. I know that some believe that Black African people en masse are indigenous to this landmass and there was no African slave trade and all this silliness, or whatever the case is. I don't believe that we're indigenous to this particular landmass in terms of um, I think a lot of us used to hotter, even hotter climates than this. Well, I'm saying us. I'm living in Canada. Right now I'm calling you from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. So I'm further, probably a little further north than a lot of you on the call. Because of that, my point is, because we're in these kinds of climates, to be able to still be successful in these climates, we need key vitamins like vitamin C, right? Vitamin D, vitamin B12, right? Vitamin A. There's all kinds of potassium, um, iron, all these kinds of vitamins, minerals, nutrients are important to us. But the good news is when you buy multivitamins, just to add to your healthy diet, right? Which we're going to be talking about diet a little bit more. Maybe I'll make some recommendations if you guys want, but I know that some are plant-based and some aren't, so that's fine. But uh, having multivitamins is going to get and cover all those baseline things. When you look at the multivitamins that you're looking to purchase, it's going to say what's included, and there's a ton of fantastic vitamin benefits for you, health benefits using them. If you wanted, if you saw that something else was particularly lower, like I said, like potassium, for example, you can, aside from eating more potassium-based fruits, which you can just do a quick Google search to see, or if you're low iron, you can do a quick Google search to see what are examples of things that are high iron. That's what I'm saying. So you can proactively adjust before the doctor ever talks to you and comes into the room with a clipboard. You can see for yourself what you're typically eating that you're high in and that you're low in, and you can adjust your diet and your supplements to help complement that. And I see the comment there. So H3O is water infused with an additional oxygen molecule, which is found inside of fruits. Hydrates better than water. Some say we should eat our water. If yeah, yeah, I mean we're all you're the captain of your own ship. And so it's all going to look a little bit different for us. How I do the opening of the way, for example, looks a little bit different than some of my senu. And there's nothing wrong with that. How I worship the nature and in my daily living is a little different than everyone. So same with diet. If that's still the purpose, your intent, both of our intent, is to uh, be healthy and to take care of the temples of our ka. And so we're doing the best we can in doing that. I'm just going to give some recommendation from my vantage point, but my vantage point is not the only vantage point. I don't have that arrogance, that good old fashioned North American arrogance to me. I'm just humble. And I'm honored to share my perspective. Um, all right, so we've covered some supplements. Oh, yes, that's multivitamins. Other supplements that can assist you, okay, is protein. There are different kinds of powdered protein. Just to complement, because most North Americans are protein deficient. They don't get enough protein, so there's different. This is a supplement that could really help uh, get the protein into your body. The protein can be helpful to help uh, build muscle and maintain and keep muscle. Because when you exercise, work out, when you dance, I was out dancing last night, right? You're burning fat and you're burning muscle. Okay. Sometimes, so depending on how you set your diet up and how you do your supplements, you can maintain more muscle than fat, and than losing fat, right? So protein is healthy, and the good thing is, for those who are plant-based, there's lots of plant-based proteins, tons of them. I just do the regular protein for me, but there's tons of regular plant-based proteins. They have so many different options and brands and flavors and stuff now. But and it might be more important for those who are plant-based than anyone else to have these plant-based protein powders. Okay, you just add. For me, you on the bottles it'll tell you add it with water and stir, or you can use a blender. I use a blender, but I don't put water. I put milk. Now you can choose what kind of milk you want. Some do cow milk, some do almond milk, some do oat milk and cashew milk. I do almond milk, okay, vanilla flavored, if you will, and add that there, blend it up, and it tastes like a cheat meal. It tastes like you're cheating. It tastes great. It almost tastes like a milkshake or whatever, right? And especially the flavor, depending on the flavor you get, they have some really cool flavors, and that's gonna be it's medicine. It's gonna help your health, especially if you've exercised or not. Just living a day and working and doing all the stuff you're doing, that's gonna burn energy. You're going to need fuel to replace that. So protein shake is recommended. We talked about multivitamins. For those who struggle to have the motivation to go to the gym before we get into the workouts and that kind of thing, I'm going to recommend to you to consider having pre-workout could be helpful. It's not required, but pre-workout could be helpful depending. Everyone's different. So some people are getting. I'm 33 years old. Okay, I'm a male, 6'4". So actually, me, that's my individuality, my vantage point. But everyone's different, right? Depending on your age, your height, your lifestyle, how active you are, if you have children that you need to take care of, and that you can only go to the gym when they sleep, or depending on your situation in your life, pre-workout's going to be your best. Is going to really help you feel like I can get off this couch and go. I can stop scrolling. When you finally just want to, you finished everything, you've taken care of everyone, you just want to lay down and starfish on the bed or on the couch or whatever. It'll give you the motivation to still exercise, right? When we were in Detroit, after we were doing all that traveling, went to the Underground Railroad and the Motown Museum. It was a lot of walking. It was a very hot day. It was a fantastic time, but it was probably exhausting for some, right? It was tiring, beautiful, but tiring. And so many, I would have been tired too, but I believe that when I got back to the place, I made some pre-workout, and that's what gave me the energy to go. So I was running around in circles in the backyard doing all this, and then my beloved said Curtis, my brother Curtis Jackson, he joined me, went and ran 2 miles. He just went for a quick jog, ran 2 miles, right? And I could do that because of the nutrition, the supplements, the mindset, and just the practice over time. You get stronger, and your muscle has a memory too, right? Your muscle has a memory too, and so um, doing these healthy activities regularly will all work together to help. Is there anything you want to add, Sinet?
Oh no, what I've picked up here, the notes that I've taken, um, or questions to reflect on based off of what you said. Do I nourish my body with good food? Do I allow the time necessary to rest? Um, and like you said, I witnessed you working out in the backyard, and you guys taking off to go running. I so wanted to do it. You know what I mean? I so wanted to do it with you guys, but I think that consistency, like you said, just to, and one of the main things about this is we're all practitioners, like you said, and my art requires that balance. So if we're not taking care of the temples that are housing our spirits, then what are we doing? You know what I mean? If our
Right.
spirits can't sustain, or our bodies can't sustain the spirits within them, and it breaks down, then everything else falls by the wayside as well. There'll be breakdowns in every aspect. So I don't have anything to add. I just, I'm taking notes. I'm agreeing with all of this info. So what would you suggest for a person like myself? Over the last year and a half, I've taken an at-home position. I was at one point a very active person, working out all the time, daily, actually, 7 days a week. And now I do nothing. I've literally gained over 50 pounds. I mean, what would you suggest for someone who has I'm capable, but I need to do something. So what do you suggest for those of us who have this sedentary life?
I got you. So what I suggest is this. It's going to be an agenda. Everyone, if you can see and hear me, this is an example of an agenda. Okay, it's extremely important. Okay, what an agenda is going to do is you may have had to use these back in school,
Hmm.
and then as you get a certain age, they stop making it mandatory. So we stop using them. But this is actually the secret, not just to be able to master our physical bodies, but to master our time. This is a way to end any complacency, any stagnation. It will end it because all you'll have to do, it'll all be planned for you, and all you'll have to do is execute. It really breaks it down so you don't have to make a decision. But that's a different side of the brain to make a decision, right? As you know, we have sometimes have that fight, freeze. So flight, running, fight, fighting the danger or obstacle, or freezing, right? It's your parasympathetic nervous system, right, in the brain. But there's other times where your brain actually think. That's a cerebral brain, right? Where now, if you're thinking, should I work out or should I sleep? Should I do this? Now there's more contemplation and more hesitance because to think you need time to think. When you have this, you don't need to. All you need to do is execute. And it's soldiers. When I was a soldier, if they say you're going that direction, take that hill, you're going that direction, you take that hill, and you execute. You don't have to think, should we take that hill or should we take the mountain or should we take the woods, right? You just execute. So this is going to help you for the men and women who can hear me. When you make a plan, all you'll have to do is execute because to fail to plan is to plan to fail, right?
Mm, mm,
Right. Proper planning prevents poor performance, right? Um, okay.
absolutely.
And so what I can do is I can share some advice as well. So when you get your agenda, okay, um, you could write down a workout schedule for yourself. And you can also build in rest days if you need. I don't really take rest days. On those days, some days I just do cardio only. You might call that a rest, but I'm still exercising. But I recommend you move every day for at least 1 hour. So this is my first advice that you want to write down if you're at home, okay, is to do at least 1 hour of cardio. Okay, so I'm going to challenge you to do my 20-20-20 challenge. Okay, so I'll write it in the private chat because I don't have access to the YouTube 20-20-20 challenge. You can just copy and paste this over if you want. So that's in the private chat. Okay, it's going to be 20 minutes of treadmill, 20 minutes of stationary bike, and 20 minutes of Stairmaster. That's my 20-20-20 challenge. I recommend you try doing that every day, okay? 7 days a week, okay? This is really the speeds aren't that important because you're gonna naturally progressively challenge yourself as you go along. If you start off walking on level 3 on the treadmill, or whatever, something easy, that's okay. It's not about where you start; it's where you finish. 20-20-20 challenge, something that I invented just to get people moving again. Because back in the day, we had recess periods, right? We'd go play recess. We're playing on the jungle gym. We're playing tag. We're playing hide and go seek. We're running around. We're on the monkey bars. We're playing foursquare and basketball. But after a certain age, they stopped making our recess periods, like the physical side of it, mandatory. They give you time, maybe an hour or whatever, to go and take a break, whatever that is. If that's eating food, if that's working out, or if that's just doom scrolling on Instagram kind of thing. And so a lot of people choose not to be physically fit anymore, physically active. They sleep sometimes on their lunch break. And so I recommend that we use that we give ourselves that time. We don't need to wait for our teachers or our workplaces or our businesses to give us an opportunity. We can take the time. So everyone has at least 1 hour a day to do this. I always do this. So you'll need, some nice a gym shirt, gym shorts, whatever, and a hand towel because you're going to be sweating more than everyone else in the gym. This isn't easy, but it's doable, and I do it every day. I've been doing it every day almost for 8 years, right? I do this every day. Now working out, doing an hour of cardio, this 20-20-20 challenge, you don't have to always be in the gym. Things can be substituted. So I have some clients of mine that like to go rollerblading with their dog, or others like to go and do something else, just swimming for an hour. Whatever it is you're doing, just an hour of cardiovascular activity or an hour of cardio, however you do that. As I said, me and Sid Curtis, we went for a jog outside. Before that, I was running laps in the backyard. It doesn't matter how you do your hour of cardio, but I recommend doing at least 1 hour of cardio movement. Okay. Our bodies aren't used to being sedentary, as our Sinet had said. Sedentary means to kind of stay in place in one place. Our human bodies are naturally disposed to move around. We used to move around. We used to run around. We're climbing. We're moving. You'd probably be doing, I don't know, 16 hours of cardio if you had to count 20, right? But now I'm only asking you to do one. And so I need you to do that one. It's important for your heart, your lungs, your whole body is going to need this movement. Okay. Before I even do cardio, though, there's one thing I want you to do, and I stretch the entire body. So I'm gonna go ahead and just show you my stretching routine. I wasn't planning on doing that, but it's important to stretch our bodies, because the muscle, all it does is stretch and contract. Right? Can you guys see me?
Can see you really good.
Okay. So the first stretch we're gonna do is we're gonna stretch the hamstrings. For men, most men, their hamstrings are very tight. Okay. So you're gonna do is you're gonna have your feet either together or shoulder width apart. You're gonna have your hands. You're gonna try to touch your toes. You can do this with me now. So we're gonna go. You can go as close as you can to your toes or the floor. I'm touching the floor, and we're gonna count for 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and stand up. Okay. Then you're gonna space your feet apart. So you can't see my feet are more spaced apart further than my shoulders. We're gonna lean to the left. We're gonna hold that for 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And switch sides. We have to have balance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now you can hold on to something if your balance is off, or you can look at one spot on the floor for balance. And you're gonna grab your left foot. You're gonna pull it up behind you toward your rear. This is gonna stretch out your quadriceps or your quads. We'll hold that for 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we're gonna switch feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we're gonna roll our ankles so that we don't roll our ankles if we're running. Okay, so you put your toes on the floor and you're gonna make small, a large circle or small circles with your ankle. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The next one we're going to do together is we're going to rotate. I'll rotate a cuff is another common injury in many men and people. So we're going to do 5 large circles with our left arm. So it's going to make a large circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And switch arms. 1, kind of tall. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're just going to stretch our hands. You know, when cats stand up, they stretch really big, right? So we're going to stretch as well now. We're going to raise our hands as high as we can to the ceiling, almost like we're honoring newts. You could think of it that way. Okay, we're going to hold that for 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now we're going to stretch out our lower back. The most common injury is lower back. Okay, there's a couple of reasons for that. One is because we don't often stretch. Another is because of how our lifestyle is and how we're always sitting, this kind of thing. Also, it's because the lower back is the strongest muscle in the human body, okay, in terms of the outer muscles, right? It is always helping us. It's very nosy, right? So if we're doing bicep curls, for example, if it's really heavy, it'll help us. We're kind of using our back to help us get the work done. So lower back, if I'm doing heavy shoulder lateral raises, if it's very heavy, my back's gonna help me. My lower back is gonna help me accomplish that lift. So it gets taxed a lot. We don't really protect it. We don't often get the different things. We'll talk about recovery after, which will help us with the temple of our ka. But for our lower back, we have a couple of things we can do. The first thing I'd recommend is you kind of lean back a little bit, like Fat Joe. Okay, lean back, and we're gonna twist left and right at about the speed. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Another move you can do is you could lie flat on the floor and then just raise your lower back. If you can imagine, you're laying on the floor flat, you just raise your lower back off the floor. That's a really popular one. It's also a yoga pose, but I wouldn't be able to fix the camera to show you that at the moment. If you wanted, if your lower back was bothering you, the next one is your neck. It's very important. We talked about soldiering and being soldiers, being warriors. Soldiers often wear helmets, but whether or not you have a helmet, your neck can often get sore. And so we want to stretch our neck by rotating it as far to the left and right in a circle as we can, forward and both directions. So we'll just do that for 10 more seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It also helps your spine a bit doing that. Okay, there's just 2 more stretches we're gonna do, and then we'll stop for now. Okay, So we're gonna be taking our left hand, we're gonna be bringing it forward, like in front of our opposite shoulder. We'll take our right hand, we're gonna grab our elbow. We're gonna pull our elbow toward us as close as we can. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to take our left hand, we'll raise it above our head and behind our back. We're going to take our right hand, we're going to grab our elbow, we're going to push it down like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that's it. If there's anything else that's a bit sore before you start, you just stretch that out as well. If you have any other stretching moves you'd like to do, you can do them. But that is the stretching routine that I recommend for now to get you going. That stretches out your essentials. What do you think, Sinead?
Dua, that felt really good.
Yeah,
Really, really good. Now,
yeah,
as you all can see, and as he mentioned, I know he's definitely not an arrogant sin here, but if you see, I'm 4'9" and he is 6'4", you should
6'4",
see us
yes.
standing next to each other. um, but very, 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 very physically fit, and I mean, um, the brother takes care of his health, and I mean, in all areas. So I definitely honor and respect your input in on this topic, your adoration to it. And not only that, because this is adoration, I've actually, like I said, watched you do this over the years, not just in person. We just met in person for the first time over all these years,
Yeah,
but I've seen all of the work that you've done physically over the years and how much honor you do pay to your temple. So I think that it's very fitting. Let's see here. Although we have gotten out of the habit of doing stretching is a part of our operating procedure at work before we begin our tasks, we have the tutorial suggest that we stretch. Yes. Now my husband's an electrician, and most of his sites they require, especially if they're construction sites, they require that stretch and flex
mm,
before the job proceeds, just like that, Senaton. On some of the jobs they don't, but when they're the large construction sites that he has to go on, most of those require it. So they spend that first, like I think 30 minutes doing the stretch and flex for them. So that's definitely something. Not only that, just in that moment, how good it felt. We should probably do that every day, just like we do the opening of the way before we get our day started. Afterwards, those stretches could be essential
yeah,
uh, to our morning routine. If ritual, we practice so many rituals, we practice so many spiritual rituals, the physical rituals should be a part of it. And I know St. Curtis, he definitely makes his physical things a part of his rituals. And I'm not going to say he just does them in the morning, because he has a specific time of the day that he does certain things. He gets his miles, and he does, he's consistent with that, which is why he's 65 years old and looks the way that
yeah,
he does. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So,
He does. He looks
um,
great.
yeah, and I mean, for you guys to just take off running in the heat, I was just, you got, but that shows the dedication that you have and the attention and care that you pay to your bodies, which is extremely important. As Jabari would say, that is of a critical importance.
Yo, I know you. Hey, don't be making fun of my Hep Netter. Don't be making fun of my Hep Netter.
But it's true. Like it
He
is
does say that.
of
He does say that. He does say
importance, those things. I mean, you can't, it's very, very important. And having these conversations allows us time to kind of correct those things. You know what I mean? What do you feel about kind of the lack of seeking the care that we need? Now, I'm not necessarily totally 100% on board with doing everything a doctor says, because it's just like you said, they're not necessarily in the business of prevention. You know what I mean? They're in the business of response to whatever's
Right.
going on, reaction, just like you
Right.
mentioned, which is true. But I think that being able to utilize those sources when you have insurance and the means to actually go to the doctor, that still gives you information about yourself that gives you those basically baselines and things that you can work from. Even if you don't do everything that the doctor says, it still gives you a template.
Right.
Well,
Right. I would say get as much information as you can. You don't have to limit yourself. If the doctor has a recommendation, write that recommendation down and then use your brain, right? Because as they call us, at least in Latin, Homo sapiens sapiens, right? Which means thinking man, thinking people. We should use our divine thought, right? In the spirit of Tahuti, right? We should use our divine thought, which we invented the thought, right? The word thought comes from the word thoth, which came from Tahuti. And so we should use our brains. It's also a muscle. However, I wanted to do something for you guys for free if I could. If you would allow me to share my screen, I usually leave this for my clients, but I want to give you guys a free workout split. It's a unique one I created. I have one for the ladies and I have one for the men.
please.
I'm gonna see if it's gonna let me share my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Oh, let me add it there. There we go.
Y'all see me?
There we go.
Y'all can still see my screen now?
Yes. The
Okay,
God
perfect.
body split.
Yes, I'm going to show you guys. So this will be for the fellas. You want to screenshot this, okay? Or you can write it down, okay? But I'll leave it up for a little bit. I'm going to explain it. And then for the ladies, I have one specially just for y'all, okay? This I call the God body split. This is going to hit I have a large PowerPoint that I go over with my clients. This is one of the slides on it, but it's a very detailed PowerPoint. My company is called God Body Fitness. I train people all around the world, online coaching. We go over all these things in more detail: nutrition, all natural supplements, workout splits, workout programs, recovery, and it's $50 Canadian per month if you're interested. If you know anyone who's interested, they can DM me. Okay. And I'll make sure I put my contact information up after as well. So for men, I reckon because some women, the reason I say for men and not for women, because I understand there's balance and duality, but I believe that men and women are different and they have different goals typically. A lot of my female clients don't want to have big traps and big arms and this kind of thing. They usually want to have a slim waist, a toned core, and big, strong, healthy legs, and glutes and stuff like that, calves, and maybe a nice back. So when they wear that dress with their back out, it looks nice, right? That's cool. I got y'all. Right? But for the fellas, this is a different one. So let me go over the fellas stuff first, and then we'll go over the lady stuff. It's separate, okay? So for the fellas, I have a 9-day split. Now, send Jehuti must. There's not 9 days in a week. I know, but this is how I do it, and I'm gonna explain how I do it, okay? In my agenda, okay, I'll write down these 9 days of the days I'm available to actually do weights, because for some are available to do weights every day. Some are available only to do weights 4 days a week. You'll write them down in this order. So write me the first four. If you have only available 4 days, then you'd write Monday, biceps and triceps. I don't know, Tuesday, hamstrings and calves, Wednesday, shoulders and abs, and Thursday, forearms and calves. And the other days you'd have off from weights. I would still recommend you do cardio on those days, the 20-20-20 challenge, but you'd kind of go that way. And then the next 4 days that come up next week, if you're only available 4 days, you continue where you left off. So chest and abs, quadriceps and calves, etc. Okay. So let me go over the split. So biceps and triceps, that's going to be the muscles on your arm. So the front of your arm and the back of your arm. A lot of guys think that they want big arms. They think they want big biceps, but biceps are actually a smaller muscle than the triceps. Triceps means 3, biceps means 2. The triceps wrap around most of your arm. So a lot of guys that hear compliments from girls, for example, that say, "Oh, you have nice arms, you have nice biceps." What they really mean is you have nice triceps, but they don't know that sometimes, right? So triceps are almost more important than biceps, but I do all of these things. So fellas, for biceps and triceps day, this is my favorite day of the week. You're gonna go to the gym, okay? Or if you want to work out outside, I work out outside sometimes too, as you saw. But in this case, I'm speaking from a gym perspective. So first things first, get a gym membership or have a home gym. Okay. Second thing, get to the gym, put your stuff in your locker, buy a lock up your stuff so no one steals it. Okay. You're gonna go out and you're gonna stretch before you start touching the weights, before you start doing cardio. Okay, you're gonna stretch like I showed you, or your own routine, or you can mix them together. Okay. Then after you're done stretching, you feel loose and ready to go. You're gonna do your 1 hour of cardio. So the 20-20-20 challenge. That's 20 minutes of treadmill, 20 minutes of stationary bike, 20 minutes of stairmaster. Okay, you're gonna be a sweaty mess. Okay, but it's gonna be a nefer mess, a beautiful mess. Okay, use your hand towel, dry your face off. Okay, after that, if you can, I would then, when I go to the gym on weight days, I bring 2 gym shirts and 2 hand towels. Okay, um, that way the shirt that you're using, trust me, you're gonna message me later and say, send Jehutimas, my shirt was soaked. You're right, you'll be able to wring it out. It's gonna be that soaked with water, okay, because your body's not used to doing this anymore. So you put that shirt away and that hand towel away, grab a fresh hand towel and shirt, and now you're gonna go and do your weights. Okay, so now we're in the gym. We're done the cardio. We've done our stretching. Now it's time for weights. So we're gonna for bicep and tricep day. All you're doing that day is you're doing one bicep move, one tricep move, take a sip of water. One bicep move, one tricep move, take a sip of water. That's it. So examples of bicep moves, a standard hamstring curl that you would probably imagine you're probably doing the movement in your head or physically right now is just a standard bicep curl. Um, the next one, a tricep exercise, an example of a tricep exercise. You can use the ropes where you put the cable on it and you push the ropes down while you squeeze your triceps. You can do one dumbbell that you pick up that's kind of heavier. You pick it up, put it over your head, and you let it fall behind your back, and then you raise it up above your head. So let it fall behind your back, raise it up above your head. I call those upward tricep extensions. And the last move that I recommend for triceps that's really old school is the tricep kickback. They don't really do these anymore. It's kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger's time, but I still do them. You'll kind of bend 90 degrees with a light dumbbell in your hands. Light is relative, but what's light to you? And you want to raise it back above uh, to like that 180 degree, and then back down to that 45, then back up, then back down like that. So you're going against gravity. That's why you're bent. But if I were to sign, if any of you guys want to learn more about these things, I have way more bicep and tricep moves and stuff like that. You can just hit me up and we can go over the whole thing. But on this day, biceps and triceps, I just want it in your mind's eye. You're focusing on one bicep move, one tricep move, water. One bicep move, one tricep move, water. How long should it be? That's up to you. So some people only have 15 minutes or 30 minutes. Me, sometimes I would be there for 4 hours doing this. Okay. So I would do 5 hour workouts. I'd do an hour of cardio, then 4 hours of weights. Okay. I'm not saying you need to do that, but I would time my workouts by water. I'd bring my gallon of water to the gym and I wouldn't leave until my gallon is done. You don't have to do that. You can be smarter than me and just space out your water throughout your day like a normal human. But that's what I would do. Okay, the next day is hamstrings and calves. Okay, so you'll see here we've broken down the legs, we've broken down the arms and the upper body a lot, right? We've gotten in very detailed here. So for hamstrings, that's going to be the muscles on the back of your thighs. Okay, so for hamstrings, and you do so one hamstring move, one calf move. So for this day, you might say it's a leg day, but it's a hamstring focus. Okay, you're not trying to touch your quads or your glutes as much on this one because you have a different day for those. So I would usually start off with something like a squat, whatever squat you want, a regular squat, which would be like a back squat, okay, on a Smith machine or back squat, free weight, or you can do a front squat. You can do a goblet squat, which is where you hold a dumbbell in your hands as you do it. You can use a kettlebell. Some like to do Bulgarian split squats, which is where you put one leg up on a bench behind you, for example, and you fall down and you stand back up with that one leg. Some do step ups where you're stepping up onto a bench or onto a box using your one leg to power you. And the last one would be just doing a body weight squat. So no weights at all. That might be the best one to start with, actually, air squat. Okay. When you're squatting, you want to be ass to grass. Okay. Excuse me. I apologize for swearing. But you want to be go right to the floor below your weight, like below your knees, and back up as best you can. You work on that with flexibility, but that's going to be important to get that full range of motion for your legs. Okay. After that, the reason you're doing the squats is just to prep your central nervous system for the work you're about to do, and just to warm the legs up, make sure they're loose and warm and ready to go, so that there's no injuries. Because my number one priorities are sustainability and injury prevention. Then we're going to do calves. There's lots of different moves for calves. Um, Pick one that you like. Calves are the muscles behind your shins. Okay, we want to strengthen those as well. It helps you for everything, for running, for jumping. It helps you. Calves are all these muscles are important. The calves are extremely important too. So we want to train them too. So you can do them sitting, you can do them standing. There's all kinds of machines available in the gyms for calves. So I would do a calf move. Another example for hamstrings. is going to be, you're going to be laying down flat on your stomach on a machine, and you're going to be raising your legs, your feet behind you toward your rear, your derriere. Okay. And back down. You want to go as close as you can to the rear, and as far back as you can. That full range of motion is key. Range of motion. Okay. And there's many more hamstring moves. Stiff-legged deadlifts and seated hamstring curls, and there's all kinds of stuff. But this day, I just want you to know you're gonna be doing hamstrings and calves. Okay. All right. So we'll switch up to shoulders. So I just hit shoulders yesterday at the hotel gym here. And so shoulders are gonna be your deltoids. Okay. You have a front delt or anterior deltoid. You have a side shoulder or lateral deltoid, okay? And you have a rear deltoid or posterior deltoid, okay? So there's three different parts of the shoulders or the delts, and we want to train them all. And we're gonna, so one shoulder move, one ab move, water. One shoulder move, one ab move, water. That's how we're doing it on this day, okay? So a great example for shoulders would be a military press, which is where you're pressing the weight up into the air, okay? Whether you're sitting or standing. Another great example for shoulders would be a lateral side raise. So you're going to have some light dumbbells in your hands, standing up or sitting, and you'll be raising up beside you, shoulder height, no higher than shoulder height, then back down. Shoulder height, back down. Shoulder height, back down. But there's many more shoulder moves, but those are just great examples there. For abs, whatever you like, with crunches, sit-ups, Russian twists, whatever you like for abs. There's lots of ab moves, though, and I have lots to tell you about. The next day is going to be forearms and calves. That day we're working on our forearms and our calves. That's it. It's a very easy day. Of course, on all these days before we do any of them, we stretch and then we do our cardio. But yes, after that, you jump into forearm because you have to earn the weights. A lot of guys love the weights. They feel big and strong and masculine and dominant, right? They feel good that they can push around heavy weight, but then they're not conditioned. They're not lean. If somebody you might say, if I get my hands on somebody, I can move them around, I can push them around, but you have to catch them, right? So you have to be able to move, right? I was in an infantry unit. Infantry is all about closing with and destroying the enemy. So you have to be able to close that distance. To do that is cardio involved, is movement involved. So yeah, you want to do the cardio. Okay, all right. So for forearms and calves, for the forearm move, some great moves for forearms. Forearms is the muscle right basically between your hands or your wrists and your elbow. Okay, above and below, the top and the bottom. Okay, and so there's two cool moves I'll show you. I don't, you guys can't see me, I don't think. I guess I can stop sharing. Let me see here. I should probably stop sharing so you can see. Let me go
Oh, there you
to.
go. You don't have to stop sharing. I just go back and forth. You're good.
Oh, you can see me? Okay.
Now you're on the screen. Yep.
So what you're gonna do is you are going to grab a barbell. So barbell's the long one, the long bar. You'll have that in your hands, and you're gonna be raising it up as high as you can. Let me turn this. You're gonna raise the weight up as high as you can and back down. Raise it up as high as you can and back down. I'll do it from the side. You have a barbell in your hand. You're gonna raise the weight up as high as you can and back down. Raise the weight up as high as you can and back down. Okay. That is gonna work on the bottom of your forearms. That's gonna work on the bottom of your forearms. This was the meatier part of the forearms. You can take more of a beating. Okay. The next one we're gonna do is gonna be for the top part of the forearms. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a light dumbbell. We're gonna press out as if it's a firearm. Okay, we're gonna use our left hand to support us so that we're not working shoulders. Because if you're just holding weight in your hand, your shoulder's gonna try to keep it up. So we're gonna neutralize the shoulder with our opposite hand. We're gonna be raising the weight up as high as we can and back down. Raising it up as high as we can and back down. And we'll do that for 10 reps on each arm. The light dumbbell. That's it. That you do that. You do a few sets of the bottom forearm and the top forearm move I showed you, and you do calves in between, and water. You can see my screen again?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Chest day. So chest day is pretty intense. For the fellas, I recommend you start off with 150 reps on the bench press. Okay, so it's going to be 15 sets of 10 reps on the flat bench. You can do that with the free weight bench press. You can do that with dumbbells. I like using dumbbells. You can do the Smith machine. You can also do other things. You can substitute. Some people don't have the gym. They want to do push-ups, whatever. You want to do lots of volume on the chest, okay? Your pectoral muscles. I know before I haven't been saying what sets and reps to do, so you can do as much sets and reps as you want on any of these. But for me, for example, on my shoulder day, I would do 100 reps of shoulder of the military press. I would do like 10 sets of 10 reps of the military press. For the chest day, I'll do 15 sets of 10 reps on the bench press. On flat bench, flat bench works on your mid chest. So I'm just gonna actually stop sharing my screen for one moment, if you don't mind, Sinette. I want to explain something um, that is not often known. So for our chest, the same way we had the different parts of the shoulder, if you remember me breaking that down, for the chest, for our mid chest here, we want to work on flat bench press. For our upper chest, we want to do incline bench press. That's where we change the bench to like maybe a level 3. If you on the level 3, that works on your incline chest, the upper chest. That's where you could like sit a bottle on top of it, right? You can work on your upper chest. Okay. For your lower chest, which most men, I don't think most men know that how to work lower chest. That's going to be using decline bench. A lot of gyms don't have a decline bench. If your gym has a decline bench, which is where basically the bench will look like this, your head will be down here, your legs will be up here. If your gym has that, God bless them. Most gyms don't have a decline bench. So if you do, you're very lucky. All you do is you put your legs up into there and you'll be pressing the weight upward like this. That works on your lower chest. If you don't have one, I have a secret to share with you. My gym doesn't have a decline bench. And so what I do is I go to the ab area. There's a few different ab areas in my gym. I'll put my legs up as if I'm going to be doing sit-ups. But instead of doing sit-ups, I bring some dumbbells with me and I press the weight upward. So I'm making my own version of a decline bench. That's just a secret way to hit the lower chest. There's one last area of the chest I want to talk about, and that's the inner cleavage for men. Okay, so you want to have, there's a couple of different things you can do for the inner cleavage. You can do the pectoral fly machine, or some men call it the pec deck, and you'll essentially grab the two handles. You'll be squeezing them together as best you can. And when you do that, you want to really pause at the top so you can really press them together like that, right? It will really work on the inner cleavage. It'll give you a bunch of cuts and lines in between. You can put a piece of paper there and it'll just stay there, kind of thing. All right, so we can go back to sharing my screen. Just wanted to explain the breakdown of the chest. Y'all can see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, and I'll try to speed it up. For next is going to be, so that's chest, and that day you just do one chest move, one ab move, water. One chest move, one ab move, water. The next is quadriceps. So quads. You'll hear guys talk about quads. Okay, it's quadriceps. There's 4 major muscles in there. So they call it the quads, or 4. And we want to hit that too. So this day we're going to warm up our legs with squats again. After we've done our stretching and our cardio, we'll warm up our legs with squats. Okay, then we're going to get into it, right? So examples of quad workouts would be leg extensions. You're sitting down in a chair like I'm sitting in. You can be raising your leg up and back down, almost like a doctor hit your knee with a little hammer, like you see in the movies. Okay, you raise your leg up and back down, as high as you can go, and then back down. And you can do different things. If it's lighter weight, you can hold it for 10 seconds and go back down. If it's heavier weight, you can just do 1 rep just normally. You can do it with 1 leg at a time if you want. You can do that with both legs. You can switch it up. But you want to do things like leg extensions. If you only have time to do 1 move, leg extensions are your best friend for quads. And then there's other things you can do for quads, but you want to focus on, as long as you're not focusing on hamstrings or glutes as much, you're trying to focus on the quads. So leg extensions, things of those natures. Other things that a lot of guys don't do are the abduction and adduction. So you can stop sharing my screen for one moment, because this is something I have to say. A lot of guys think this is a girl machine. There's one machine called abduction and adduction. So you'll see the ladies do it, but not the fellas. And we need it probably more than the ladies. Okay. So you put your legs into this machine like this, and you'll be squeezing your legs together like that. Squeezing the legs together like that. Squeezing the legs together like that. Girls do it and they get it, but that muscle is extremely important for men. Okay. The next is going to be the other one, where you're putting your legs inside of the machine like this, and you're pushing them apart like that. Pushing them apart like that. Pushing them apart like that. That works on your glutes. And this is another reason why men have lower back problems, right? Okay, because when your glutes are weak, okay, your lower back has to make up for it, like we talked about. And so your lower back is right beside your glutes. And so when you have weak glutes, or you're not regularly exercising and training your glutes, your lower back suffers majorly. Okay, your glutes are also gonna help you complete all of your major lifts, right? Deadlifts, bench press, all these things you need your glutes for. Your glutes, your core, and your lower back. They're the key. Okay, so you want to do this this movement. Also, fun fact for the fellas, a lot of fellas don't know this. A lot of the cinettes, the ladies, they love guys with glutes. They're not gonna be weird about it. But the same way guys like to see girls with nice glutes is one of those ways you can see if somebody's healthy or whatever it is. Why humans are the way they are. Women like that too, but most men don't know that. So you have to work on glutes. It's important in many ways for many reasons. Okay. All right. So we'll jump back into the PowerPoint. All right. So that's quads and calves. There's much more things I would recommend. In my program, we go over all the details, but that's just basically at a glance, quads and calves that day. The next one is going to be back day for the fellas. Okay, back is super important. Most shows are one from the back when they talk about bodybuilding. Having a nice back with that nice V taper, that nice Dorito look, where your waist is at thin and the back is and the shoulders are wide. That's what people look for in men, but they also look for the V taper in women. Back's going to help you with your V taper. They'll give you the nice lats, the nice details, that cobra back, and you'll really stand out in a crowd. And it's also important to be able to lift. So back is probably one of the most important muscles to train in terms of functionality, functional strength, or just daily living, moving things about or picking up the kids or whatever it is that you're doing. Okay. Examples of back movements. So you have a lower back, you have a mid back, you have a upper back or traps. You have um, rhomboids in the center of your back. You have lats or latissimus dorsi on the side. They almost look like wings. Okay. Um, you want to work all those kinds of parts. So some examples I would give just for easy tips for back. Maybe you want to start off with some rowing movements. Rowing movements where you're pulling weight toward you while you're sitting down. Okay, are super important. I love rowing. Um, lat pull downs where you grab a bar that's above you and you're pulling it down either in front of your face or below or behind your head. Okay, that's gonna work on your lats. Another great one for back is going to be back extensions. This you don't really see many men doing this. Most women do this, but there's machines where you can put your legs into it and you're kind of bent. You're hanging at your waist, and you'll just raise your body up at the waist. Go back down, then raise your body up at the waist using your lower back. Okay, you can do that with a plate in your hand of weight, or you can do it with no weight in your hand. It doesn't matter. It doesn't take much because the lower back is taxing. There's many more back moves I give, but those are just easy ones. I would say lat pull downs, rowing, and some back extension. That's a pretty serious back workout right there, actually. The next day is very easy, but it's very, very important. This is abs and calves. All this day you're doing after you've done your stretching, you've done your cardio, you're just doing abs and calves. One ab move, one calf move, one ab move, calf move. The last day is glutes and calves. You just go to the gym, you do your stretching and cardio, then you just do. You start off like with all of our leg days. You always start off with some kind of squat just for the central nervous system and to warm up the legs, and then you'll do glute focusing. So this is another move. Again, a lot of guys don't hit glutes, so some of this sound kind of foreign, but it's very important. Hip thrusts, man, we need to do hip thrusts. I don't know. I need to start like shouting. We need to do hip thrusts. Is important. But hip thrusts are good. You'll see ladies do it all the time. Get under the lower the bar down on a Smith machine, for example, and you're basically making bridges. You'll be pushing the barbell or the Smith machine bar into the air and then back down, into the air and then back down while you're squeezing your glutes. I know pause or whatever you want to say, okay? But it's very important. Um, very, very important. Then other ones, another good move for glutes is glute kickbacks. Okay, so you're just going to be, it's almost like you're kicking in a door for lawful reasons, of course. And, you just put your leg up behind you, one leg, you're going to be pushing it back, almost like a donkey would or a horse would. You're pushing it back behind you. This is going to be very important for your glutes. A very good move. Those are two great moves for glutes. There's many more moves I give, but if you just do those three moves, the squats, the hip thrusts, and then the glute kickbacks, that's a solid leg day. Don't forget abduction and adduction. I said that most guys don't do. Abduction and adduction every leg day. So hamstrings, quads, or glute days, those are our leg days. You're going to want to do abduction and adduction as well as squats. For the ladies, can I talk to the ladies for a second? So for the ladies, all right, let me get theirs up. Okay, so for the ladies, we're going to be doing just one upper body day, okay, where we're going to be hitting just a few things, but nothing crazy. It's like one. I might even show that one in a moment. Just upper body day, just to show you what that would look like. Thanks for your patience. All right. So for the ladies, upper body day is going to look like this. I'm just going to give this to you. Ladies, take a picture of this. This is for the ladies, just because I want you guys to hit these key areas. And after that, it's pretty simple. You're doing one bicep move, one tricep move, water. Okay. Then you're doing one seated military press which is for your shoulders. Okay. Then you're doing one forearm move, like I showed you. The forearm flexion that I showed you when you press out, almost like you're holding a firearm. Okay, that just works on your forearm, just so that you have that functionality. Because muscle is not all about aesthetics. If you don't use it, you lose it. Okay, so you still want to maintain that muscle, even if it's just for functionality. Then we'll do the Herculean bicep flex. So I'm gonna have to stop sharing my screen so I can show you what the heck that is. I just made the name up. I liked Hercules growing up as a kid, and so I named this move after Hercules. So all you're gonna do is you're gonna grab the cables, okay, with your hands, and you'll be raising them toward you and back down, raising toward you and back down without moving the shoulders. We don't want to move the shoulders, just keeping the shoulders where they are and the elbows where they are. We're just moving just the biceps. Call it the Hercules or Herculean bicep flex. Okay, you can share my screen. Okay, so then we're gonna do flat bench press for ladies, just using dumbbells. What weight you use, you notice I don't put weights on here. So I don't really care what weight you use, it's just doing the movement. You choose the weight, okay? But that'll work on your chest. A lot of ladies don't want to hit chest. It's important to still hit chest a little bit. There's just you only hit it once of the night of the your guys's five. You guys have a 5 day split, the ladies. You just hit it once. So you're still not hitting, you're not gonna have a big, massive, bulky upper body. You're not gonna look like a man. You're just gonna touch it just to make sure that it's toned and healthy. That's it. This ladies workout you'll see in a moment is mostly glute focused. But today's the one upper body day you have. So the last thing you're doing is shoulder flies, just so that you have that V taper. We talked about men and women are trained to see beauty with the V taper. That's how we see beauty. And so you want to hit shoulders just to accentuate that V taper. And it's going to be helpful for you to pick up things, hold groceries in your hand, walk them into the house from the car, whatever. Okay. All right. So we'll go back to the actual goddess body split. I call it the goddess body split, by the way. Okay. So that's your upper body day. You're hitting all your major upper body movements there and just getting that out of the way. So then you can focus on the real work, which is the legs. So see, for the ladies, we have a hamstrings and calves day as well. We talked about before. We have an abs and calves day. We have a quads and calves day. I threw one back and abs day in there because it just gives your legs a bit of a break because your legs can get real. All these days have legs in them, right? So I just give your legs a bit of a break with a back day and separated it from the upper body day. So there's no back movement in the upper body day breakdown I gave you. I separated them because back can be tiring. So I made it a day on its own. But it's important. A lot of ladies that I talk with that work with me, they want to have that nice dress for their back being out, this kind of thing. So that's there. And then glutes and calves. Okay. So of the 5 days, you're hitting legs 3 of the 5 days. Oh, sorry, the 6 days. I apologize. You're hitting legs 4 of the 6 days, right? Because even on abs and calves, you're hitting calves still. So it's very lower body dominant for the ladies. The last thing I'll do is I'll just share about recovery, if I could. Okay, so when you're in the gym, Senu, brothers and sisters, you're not building muscle, you're tearing it apart. It's how you do your recovery that's going to allow you to actually grow the muscle and feel healthy and have the benefits that you actually want. Okay. So as I just said, yeah, in the gym, we're tearing our muscles up and stressing our bodies out. So here are some strategies to aid in recovery. Number one is sleep. Now, sometimes you might, like, I know I'm a police officer. Sometimes I can get my full 8 hours. Sometimes I can only get 4 hours. If there was a crime scene I had to watch and I had to get back in there after, or whatever the case is. I also have the fitness company on the side and everything else I do on the side. So sometimes sleep could be low. And for those of you who have children, it might even be harder, where your work's just beginning when you get home. But sleep is the number one way to help with recovery of your muscles and I dare say your mind and your car. Okay. The next is going to be deep tissue massages. Okay. I want you to treat yourself and get a massage sometimes. Okay. If it's once a month, if it's once a quarter, like once every 3 months. But you want to get a massage. You don't want to go years without getting massages. It's important. Okay. I was just at a spa yesterday. Okay. you want to go for massages, okay? It doesn't have to be anything fancy. A lot of workplaces have benefits that cover massages. You want to look into that, but just get, if not, they're often not super expensive, and it's going to be an investment into your life, which is the topic we're talking about, the protecting and building, nourishing the temple of our ka. Okay, chiropractor. You want to go to the chiropractor. It's different than the massage therapist. That might be less often. That might be every 6 months. That might be every 4 months, whatever you can muster up. But workplaces often always give benefits that cover chiropractor because they want you to come to work. They want you to be capable of coming to work. So chiropractor is extremely important. It's going to help your bones, your joints, and your ligaments, right? Whereas massages are working on your muscles. Okay, typically. The next is saunas. I was in a sauna yesterday. Saunas are just gonna be heated rooms where you're gonna be sweating out a lot of the toxins and water between the skin and the muscle. So it'll give you more of a thin skin look, and it just helps you, it just calms you down. Okay, the last two you don't have to do. I don't do them regularly, but they are proven, statistically proven to help with recovery. Ice baths. I know most of us are Black African people. We don't like the cold. Ice baths will help, and acupuncture. So you don't have to do either of those. You don't have to do any of these, but I mean, it's supposed you have to sleep. But these are going to be things that help with recovery. The last thing I'll share is just my contact information. If you want to learn more, I have much more to say. I have my Instagram on here. I have my Snapchat, my Facebook business page, my cell phone number, and my email. Okay. And I appreciate you guys listening in. So that's everything about my perspective of the physical for today. You can take a, I'll give you a second to take a picture of that if you need to, and then I'll stop sharing the screen. All right.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Excellent. All right, let's see how we get us back now. There we are. Okay. Excellent, excellent, excellent presentation. You guys, anybody interested, make sure I do have that screenshot and I'll share that on our private page too. The screenshot with your contacts, because if anybody is interested in any of those programs, I mean, those are some very in-depth programs, which very fitting for today's theme and today's topic. A lot of folks, before it starts to get cold, because when the cold season comes upon us, people start to hibernate. Um, so if you get into a lot of these things now, if you haven't been as active as such as myself, then you already have the going. You already have it going. That way, before it gets cold, there won't be the excuse of cold outside. You'll already be in the thick of things. So I would say get started. But that was very, very, very wonderful, very never presentation and information. Um, while we are getting ready to close out, if there are anybody with any prayer requests right now that are watching, please put their names in the chat. We are happy to raise them up. I do want to put our Sanette Sashat in the prayer on the prayer list. She's usually here with me on Sundays. She wasn't feeling well this morning. She did call me, so just sending her love and energy, and Uncle Jasaneb as well, for her to feel better so that she can get back on, everything, not just to be here with us, but just in the flow of what she's doing in her life. She's just a little under the weather today, but she's going to be okay. So if anyone out there with prayer requests, we want to especially lift those. We always want to mention our Himneter Ames and Himneter Wasiri while they're both still on their journey to healing. And I always like to call that the journey to healing, because they are doing the work that's necessary to get their physical, just as we're speaking today, their physical bodies back intact and healing from the things that they're going through. Always, if anybody wants to reach out to them, reach out to them. They always love the myrrh. They definitely do. We did have a Boots a shot in here earlier, but I think she is gone. I wanted to, she used to do a lot of Kemetic yoga. I was wanting to ask if she was going to get back into that, and we'll, eventually find out. You can follow her on the Shrine of Sekhmet. And I do see that she has some videos up. She's doing some activities. So she's walking and she's getting out there to get that vitamin D as best you can. Those supplements are necessary, because there's no way that we can get the necessary vitamin D here in the West that we need to sustain us. Getting outside does help, but it won't scratch the surface. Almost everybody I know who is of African descent or Black Americans, they are vitamin D deficient, including myself. So get out there as much as you can when the sun's out. I know it's hot, but get out there and get that sun. Get those supplements and any other nutritional things that you can incorporate to get that, because that's critical to our DNA. Is vitamin D is one of the critical essential things that we need. So if there are no prayer requests, I will say that even if those are not, they're not mentioned today, we especially lift in prayers those living with illness, those recovering from injury or surgery, or recovering from illness, those that are caring for their loved ones, because sometimes they need prayer as well. You may be a caregiver that cares for one of your loved ones who's sick or who's ill or who's under or bedridden, and you also need strength. So we're sending that strength to you as well. Those seeking strength, healing, and renewed vitality, may the healing power of the Netaru surround them. So as we close out today, I do want to, which we call balancing the scales at this time, just some thought-provoking questions for us to kind of meditate on this week. Am I honoring my body as I honor my spirit? Because again, we talk about getting up in our altars and our spiritual work, and are we honoring our bodies just as much as we're honoring our spirits? These aren't things that you have to answer to me. I'm not the, the sayer of what's right, but just things to meditate on this week as we're reflecting after today. What healthy practices can I bring, or can I begin or renew this week? And a lot of what you've talked about are some definitely great recommendations and suggestions. And I urge you, if you feel it's over, and I don't feel like it's overwhelming, I'm pretty much ready to do 2020. You know what I mean? However, some folks get overwhelmed with so many things. It seems to be so many things. It's not so many things. But I urge you to do one. Do one of them. If you can't do all three, do one of them. But think about that. What healthy practice can you begin or renew this week, starting tomorrow, starting Monday? And you don't have to tell me, you don't have to share that, but for yourself, as we've had this discussion today, what can you pick up tomorrow? Whether you've gotten it, as recommendation here, or you figured it out as researching for yourself, what can you do starting this week that's going to either be a healthy practice that's either going to begin or renew, whether it's changing your diet this week, whether it's getting out to walk every day. If you can do that, that's a step in the right direction. And lastly, how can caring for myself help me better serve my family, my community, the Netaru, and stay in balance with my At? So that's very important. If you're a practitioner here, how can caring for yourself, myself, yourself, help you be better to serve your family, your community, the Netaru, and stay in balance with Ma'at? So those are those thought-provoking questions for this week. I will put them also on the private page for people to meditate on as they're reflecting and beginning their week. Things to incorporate in each week. We try to do that in adoration, just to give some reflection, some reflectional thought. And it's not necessarily to be answered, but just to kind of reflect and to begin adapting where you feel there are things that may need adjustments. We don't know what they are. We don't pretend to know what they are, or even to pretend that we have the answers for those things. But that's what adoration and praise is all about, giving praise and honor to those things that need that. And often the physical body is left by the wayside. Even though we may talk about what we eat and vegans, vegetarians, all those things, we don't necessarily pay honor as much as we need to. In fact, that should be one of the main focal points of the honor, because it houses our divine spirits. So I really, really appreciate you, Sin, for all that you brought to the table today. I've taken a lot of notes. I'm excited to get started. Probably will even do some kind of video or something this week just to talk about the progress and the things that I might have been able to accomplish this week after today's session.
Yeah, you can do it, and we can all do it, but we can never forget. We can
Yes.
never forget. We
And
have to, we have
yes.
yeah. This is not just for aesthetics. It's not just for our vanity and our egos. We have to, before you can before I played any sports, we always stretch, we did cardio, and then we played the sport. In the military, it's the same. Before we shot a gun, a firearm, an assault rifle, a machine gun, a grenade, which I've used all these things, you're always stretching and doing your cardio first and warming up the body, taking care of the body. The body is what's going to allow you to take care of yourself, but it's also going to allow you to defend yourself and to defend your community, to defend your people. And so that's why I also want to honor the Nature Mantu, because we need to also remember that you have to be careful with it. The same way on Saturdays when we recognize the Nature Set, who also goes to battle against the enemies of Ra, right? In the boat of right in that boat. We have to be careful with the Nature Set, and we have to be careful with the Nature Manchu, because we don't want to use that energy to harm our loved ones, our families, our friends, and the innocent. We want to use that energy only to defend ourselves, our families, our loved ones, and the innocent, and to be protectors of Ma'at.
That's
To
right.
be Shemsu, if we're really Shemsu Heru, if we're really followers of Heru, then we must be like Heru and go to battle against wickedness, which, yes, that's spiritual, the battle within us, right? That's mental and right, intellectual, but it's also physical. You might physically have to go to battle. You know, I know a lot of guys who would say, "I wish someone would." Some would even say something as ignorant as, "Yo, we are not our ancestors, right? Try us and find out." This kind of stuff, right? Well, you better be training every day, because while you're sleeping, while you're hanging out, when you're eating, and you're comfortable and you're relaxed, your enemy, who you may not even know who your enemy is, but if your enemies are out there and they're training and they're preparing,
Yep.
right? And they're taking land and they're taking things from you and they're harming you. And you're innocent, and they're not always going after the men. They're going after the women, the children, and the elderly. So all of us need to train. And if you need any help along the way, I'm here. Dua.
Absolutely. Dua. In closing, we'll say, excuse me, dua to Ma'at, dua to Ra, dua to Sekhmet, dua to Imhotep, dua to Tehuti, dua to Manchu, as he mentioned here. All of those things, dua to even Set, dua to all of the Netaru. As we say, Imbu Netaru, dua to all of the Netaru, because together they cultivate, and they it's almost like thinking of the Transformers, when Optimus Prime, and when you put them together, a powerful force, and all of those energies reside within us, so we can harness them at any time. So with that, may our hearts remain true, may our minds remain clear, and our bodies be strengthened. May our lives reflect balance in every way. Excuse me with the cough thing here. With that, I say Shem Ma'at, Uncle Jocelyn, to all of you.
Shema. Dua.
Much more.
Much more.